When we couldn't get a venue, we compensated and
Yeah.
we could fall back on playing at Paulie's house.
How did that inform what you did when you had a venue? Having the experience of the intimacy and the music being an intimate way of connecting with one another and a conversation with one another? How did that inform what you wound up doing when you did find venues?
We had a following that
Mhm.
built Paulie's house. So naturally, to get a venue that would fit everyone, they simply gravitated to our event from Paulie's house. And I believe, to the best way I can remember it, is that how it really got started with One Love taking it, as you might want to say, quote unquote, on the road.
It was a neighborhood thing too, in a lot of ways, because I lived maybe a block and a half south. It was Bostrom Court. Was it Bostrom Court? I can't remember the name. Or not Bostrom. Was it? Either way, we all lived. It was this loop, right? And at the top of the loop, uh, Paulie and Lauren is. I don't know. I was at the bottom of the loop, so we were all really close together. There was another DJ Moses, who lived really close by, and it was the south side of Eau Claire. It was a very small little neighborhood. The Burger King that Lauren and I worked at together eventually was right up in there. So it
Mhm.
was really just a neighborhood thing. Like we like to party. It was that age where, we was always doing something. We were young and we didn't have a lot of worries. So we congregated at places and played music at places and had grill outs and had barbecues. And a lot of this just stems from even outside of the music. Um, and the thing with Paulie is, uh, I went to high school with him, right? And I ran into him like maybe a year or two after high school. It was probably '01, '02, and we started hanging out. And he had met a friend of ours, Trafina, and with her came all these other people that we didn't really know. They were a little bit younger, but we all just kind of eventually became a big family. And eventually, Polly didn't have turntables right away. We were hanging out for a very short period of time, and then I remember he got his taxes back. He's like, "Man, I want to buy some turntables," and that's what he did. And so already we were had a small gathering of people that were always hanging out and doing stuff. So once he got his turntables, pair of Techniques, I think he had 1210s, right, the black ones. He got a brand new pair, and I don't remember what his mixer was at first, but it was a pretty cool mixer too. I remember it was like blue and gray, dude. I remember trying to remember what kind of mixer it was, but that was it, dude. And we just all the time partied, dude. That's what we were doing. We were partying and we were DJ. So it went hand in hand that this was already something that we liked to do. They weren't always even planned, really. People would just, it wasn't like one of those things where you put out flyers for a house party. Like, it was just, if we were hanging out and enough people wanted to hang out, that's what happened.
Mhm.
And we didn't really have to try. And it would just became this place that people always knew they could go, they could show up. And also too, Paulie's cousin Nate moved in next door, and so there was all those people. So they really had the run of a half of what a fourplex was, and it was just in a nice little spot where we didn't really have to worry about noise too much, and we could do what we want and be ourselves. And yeah, we had a lot of crazy parties. He had a foosball table it was very much a bachelor pad. I had a foosball table in the kitchen, and the deck set up in the living room, and it wasn't big. There wasn't a whole lot of space, but there was an upstairs too. So, that's a lot of times that's where we'd be, because he was just living there by himself, right? Initially, and I think his room was in the basement. So we had 2 floors to just do whatever and get crazy and be silly. There wasn't a lot of venues either. There was only so many places to do it at, and obviously, like, you have a place like Minneapolis where there's always events and stuff. So because there wasn't always events, that's really why the house parties were a thing, because obviously we're not going to be able to throw an event every single Friday and Saturday night. But they had some events, like at the Stone Store. It was called Turntable Tuesday. It was a weekly thing, and that was cool. But and that only lasted for a time. I think that was just kind of,
I was one of the founders of that.
yeah.
That was started with another crew that I had started with some other DJs, that we were actually hip hop and R&B bar DJs,
Hmm.
and we started Turntable Tuesday, and we had a crew called Spin Syndicate, and it was myself as DJ L, my moniker for hip hop and R&B and rap music, to differentiate myself from the house scene.
Mm-hmm.
And there was Kevin from the Brock Cabin. Everybody knows him as Kevin from the Brock Cabin. He really didn't have a DJ name, but that he was popular from being a DJ at the Brock Cabin, and also the bartender. And this guy would play records mix and also jump behind the bar and go mix drinks. That was amazing to me. And then another original member was this DJ slash rapper by the name of 6ix9ine. And then we had my cousin, rest in peace, DJ Mooney. And we did Turntable Tuesdays, and it was very interesting. It was an interesting concept. It ran for maybe almost a year. And then it kind of filtered out over to the bands. The bands were doing an open night Thursday. I was playing that too because I play instruments.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get on that stage as much as possible.
And you were a breakdancer too. Is this? Do I understand? Do I remember correctly?
That was in my early beginnings before DJing.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I have a philosophy that some of the best DJs came from the dance.
That makes a lot of sense.
You get that perspective from that angle, and you absorbing that energy that DJ is projecting.
Mm-hmm.
So, being on the dance floor, I said to myself, one day I'm gonna be on the other side of it, and I'm gonna know exactly what to do, because the aesthetic of the dance floor and the DJ, it's a marriage. It's a marriage of energy, the way I like to describe it.
Yeah.
I feed you, you feed me back.
It's a relationship. Yeah.
This is very much a relationship. That's why I frown upon, no disrespect to anybody, but I've never done this, and I kind of frown upon DJs that have a set.